You ready for the fight, soldier? Hey guys, it's Tazwhole here. Welcome to Tazwhole Tubecast. Now I'm here with KLW HitmanPike from esports. He's a shoutcaster, man. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, brother. I'm very much happy to be here. Thank you very much for setting up this interview and having me on board today to talk about myself. I'm very excited. This is the first time I've ever been asked to do such a thing, so I'm pretty flanned as to what's going to be happening, but I'll try to do my best to keep up with what's going on.
Boots up to you, sir. Boots up to you. So the KLW. I was just curious, like, what's the background of that? Why'd you choose that for your tag? Just curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Everyone's got a bit of a story behind their name, haven't they? And with mine, I didn't add the KLW aspect of my name till quite late on in my gaming career. Yeah. Approximately around the time of 2011, I got an Xbox, started playing on Xbox a lot more, joined a community, got quite heavily involved with this community. You know how it gets sometimes when you're an online band of brothers sort of thing. And one of my friends, who was quite a popular member of both the community and the overall Battlefield community, named name of Ken Lynch Weesby, so hence KLW. And that was the beginning of his tag, and he was a really nice guy, really supportive, great at getting people involved actively in the community, and just sort of just a real good sort of all-round guy. And unfortunately in 2014, just like completely, really suddenly and really tragically, he passed away, unfortunately. And it was just really sudden. No one really got opportunity to say goodbye, and so you know, for us it was a really tragic moment. And you know, there was probably about 30 to 40 of us that really, you know, felt close to KLW, and for us it was just like a real heart-wrenching moment. So I mean, our response was, I mean, I have to say, it was great. It was just, you know, it took us a lot of time, effort, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and it almost split the group up on a number of occasions. But we were able to send a package all the way around the world. You know, it went everywhere you can think of, and basically everybody contributed something that they wished, you know, for Kenny's family to have, because obviously one of the other sides of this is you get quite close to the families out there as well, and we were very close to Kenny's family and his widow and his kids, and we all wanted stuff that, you know, could go on the grave or could, you know, be representative of our time together, which unfortunately was cut very short. But yeah, so that's my history with the tags.
So, just curiosity, that's very touching. I'll say that. Like, that's the most touching story I've ever heard on my show yet. So, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. But I was just gonna ask you, okay, so just so my audience knows, where were you gaming from, sir?
Right. So when I started, probably about 2002, when I first PC. And started on the very first Call of Duty, which had a World War II setting, and really enjoyed the open world. Back then, Call of Duty was a lot different to how it is now. It was a lot more slow paced. It was the opportunity to be tactical and strategic and really break the game down. It wasn't just run and gun, fast paced. That came along in later Call of Duties. I flipped over to Battlefield 2 in 2005. And I've just been a Battlefield addict ever since. I've been in multiple communities over the years. I've seen people come and go from this game and made many friends, and been able to take on many different roles within those communities and within the Battlefield community as an overall sort of thing. But for me, it's really kicked off probably since about 2011, when I got my Xbox, started getting really heavily involved with the Battlefield community at that stage. Very much active on the esports scene since 2014. Ran an esports team for a couple of years. Nice. Unfortunately, we ran 23 matches. We won one of them. So I wouldn't say I was a great esports leader, but I learned how not to do it. And eventually retired from that, and I became an esports shoutcaster in 2015.
So my curiosity, what does a shout, like your job involved? Just saying, what does a shoutcaster do? Just curiosity.
Well, that's something I often ask myself, to be honest, because it's something that can it's something that can change depending on obviously the nature of the game and the context of what's going on. Sometimes, you know, we've all got our individual approach to how it's done. For me personally, I've got a very dry British sense of humour. Not everyone gets it.
Oh, so you are from the UK. Just let my audience know you are from the UK.
Yes, I am. Very
awesome,
much
awesome.
So.
Yes, UK blood. Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. So I'm sorry for all the people out there that we colonised over the years. You know, unfortunately, my ancestors just like they were rotters really. But so yeah, no, yeah, the good old UK really. But,
yeah, I understand.
But the shoutcasting role is basically essentially broken down, especially in the hardcore league context. I come in, I give a bird's eye view perspective of the battlefield.
Yeah, we're watching some of that now.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sure it looks quite dull with no sound, but it's all about basically the overall description and capturing how the teams interact with each other, what sort of what elements they're using, whether they are they going for a more aggressive approach, are they running a defensive, we can really break down the mechanisms of how the game works, and because it's being sort of done in a competitive environment, everyone's on point, everyone's communicating, and this can be done from anything from a 5-man incursions match to a 32-player, large scale. And we'll, as normal, as routine, get 64 players together and have them compete, in sort of 5-6 rounds consecutively for 2.5 hours, sometimes 3 hours if it goes on into overtime. So you've got to stay on point. You've got to stay descriptive of what's happening. You've got to make it exciting.
So it's kind of like almost like commentary right there. Almost like even though people have like a sports announcer or whatnot, it's like commentating that way. So you got to know your history. You got to know your background and stuff about certain stuff. Like they're doing this strategy, they're doing that strategy. Okay, like me, I'm the type of person that, no offense, in Battlefield 1, I swear to God, I'm just the person that I'm one crazy Canadian fucker. So if I play this game, you know what? It doesn't matter if you shoot at me. I'm running at your ass, you motherfucker. I'm gonna stab your ass before you better kill me. I swear. Yeah, because I swear to God, I've been playing like Black Ops, Call of Duty, all that lovely stuff. But Battlefield, I feel that you have to do more strategy-wise, because that's why the team has to communicate more. They have to communicate as one. Because I know a lot of times, you gotta run halfway across the map to kill somebody. Oh my God.
I mean, yeah, no, absolutely. And bearing in mind, I'm a son of gaming, and I've seen it from both perspectives, both the Call of Duty framing and the Battlefield framing. And for me personally, one of the many things that draws me to Battlefield is that slow down, more methodical, more strategic approach to the game. Yep. Okay, so you were discussing before how you can run for ages and not necessarily come into contact with anybody.
But then think of how many units there are. Like there's actually isn't there there's ones that are snipers, there's ones that are the close up range ones, and then you got the range. You have the range scouts and whatnot, and then not a lot of people are used to using them. So that's why with them, it has to be more strategy that you're waiting for your target, because the fact is you're scoping something out, but you can only, just like if you're in a tank or whatnot, you pretty much only have a little scope that you can look at to fire at. So you gotta be pretty sure that shot fires, or either your team's butt is grass. But I'll say, you have to be pretty precise,
One thing I would say about the one of the things that draws me to Battlefield is that, again, the way that the teams break down, and you've got the squads, and then within the squads everybody's got to have an appropriate kit. You've got to have a medic, you've got to have a support, you've got to have an assault or a sniper, or depending on what the situation is, you're going to want to vary your kit, and then you're going to want to par off those kits against each other. And everything from the way Battlefield kits work individually, and the way that they make up and sort of relate to other equipment being used within the squad is all very important. And a good squad leader, especially in a competitive element, will take all of these things into consideration. and he will obviously reflect that. And a lot of what he takes from the battlefield and what a lot of decisions he should be doing need to be based on what the enemy's doing. So he needs to give the other team opportunity to see how they're gonna, how their tactics are going to unfold, and then, the victor will be the person that is able to adapt to those tactics, and then basically walk away and address that effectively, rather than being stuck in a situation where they get tunnel vision and stuck with one tactic, one strategy. And you really see that come to fruition in the competitive arena, because people are forced into that situation where they're going up against, teams that are on point. So if you're not on point as a team, as a squad leader, and you're not, correctly disseminating information amongst your squad mates and amongst your fellow squad leaders, then you're going to run into trouble quite quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, how long have you been involved with esports? Just curiosity.
I started, as I say, I started running my own team in late 2000. We ran, unfortunately, a very unsuccessful set. We ran 2 seasons, but unfortunately both unsuccessful. From that, I moved on, and as I say, I really just, developed my patter and how I interact with people, and how I'm reviewing the situation that's going on in front of me. And one of the things I have as another hobby as well is I'm very interested in history and strategy. And with games like Battlefield 1 and Battlefield V, when it comes out, there's a lot of opportunity to really get into the nitty-gritty of what happened and why these situations happened, or and when you get into the statistics of people involved, is incredible. You take into consideration that the largest sort of mass movement of human beings in history was in that first week of mobilization during World War One, when the German army mobilized through Belgium into France. And you look at the statistics, and more importantly the logistics behind that, and everything that, like, the sheer mathematics.
I remember. Sorry to interrupt. I remember when it was like about COD, where it was like, it wasn't COD, but I think it was like World at War, and then actually one of the campaign missions, you actually shoot Stalin, and I'm like, holy crap! Like, seriously, I was like,
I know.
Yeah. Like, what?
I mean, I'm all for, different kinds of games, and I know this isn't everybody's cup of tea.
No.
And there's a lot of people.
But it's really cool how they're doing the history and stuff.
But I think one thing that's important about history is that you don't mess with it too much. History at the end of the day can serve a lesson. And I think one point to make it, and I know it's definitely a bone of contention, and it's perhaps a bit of a touchy subject, but approaching it unemotively and approaching it completely objectively, I think that, for instance, the swastika should feature in the next Battlefield, which is going to be in World War II. And the reason for that is because, although I recognise it does have the ability to cause offence out there, I think just like I believe they had a clan or they had a tag that you could get, and then it was like something to do a swastika, and then someone gotten shit for making it on Call of Duty. Call of Duty on Black Ops. That's not so much what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the actual context of putting it in the game, because this is a historic game. It's meant to be a historic recounting of history. And I don't think you can have history necessarily without having full history. And I think it's very dangerous. And I think the reason it's very dangerous is because by whitewashing history, you risk repeating it. It's important that we recognise that these horrible, horrific events happened. And me as a historian and someone who likes to read up and find out what really happened and get to the nuts and bolts of it, I think for them to go for the whole Wehrmacht thing is fair enough. I completely understand their rational why, and I completely understand that it is upsetting to people. It's an upsetting topic, but that nonetheless doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
A thing that I was told from a wise guy, I swear I'm not wise whatsoever, but I'll say that the thing that I was told was, okay, like when it came to history, take it kind of with a grain of salt, because at the same sense, you hear about the victory, about the victor, and I'll say you never hear about the losing side, or there's always one side that you don't hear about. Because I can understand, because I'm half European, like I'm Canadian, and on my dad's side I'm Hungarian. Well, my grandfather was in, he had to fight in World War II, but he actually was forced to fight for Germany. So I can understand that, because Hungary, they didn't have a choice. They'll be like, hey, you're gonna fight for us, and you know who rules your country? Oh yeah, Germany at this point. So if you don't do, you're pretty much he had to, because the fact was, yeah, I asked him, like, how was World War II, and he explained it like this. He said, well, it's like you're going to war, but yet you have a gun pointed at you, you have a gun put in your hand, and then you have someone behind you aiming a gun at your back to fight. Yeah. And then when you go home, you didn't resist. You have your own people trying to kill your ass.
I mean, that's the thing. You've got to be careful, and as someone who likes to study history, again, yeah. I'm very careful about where I go for my information. I try to stick to historians that have got reputations for studying things. I mean, at the end of the day, a famous philosopher once said, "All I know is I know nothing." And I totally agree. And I think you can definitely break down history, but you have to approach it with that in mind. That all I know is I know nothing. And as long as you apply that to your thought, and I think there's it's not great. There's nothing to be said for absolutism, and always have your ability to have your mind changed by new information and new facts varying on this. But I mean, absolutely, just touching on there, you said one of your relatives was forced to fight. Absolutely. What can often be forgotten perhaps by people is that Nazi Germany occurred because all the people that said no and all the people that put up resistance were killed and murdered, and they were put down publicly and humiliated and put in camps, and you forget that. And I think there's a really good show on Netflix called Generation War that really illustrates just how it was for normal, average young Germans who were just caught up in events that were not of their making.
It was just like this. It was just like I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I'm saying that it's just kind of like there's a lot of conspiracies that happened during World War II. That's why I believe Britain, like when it came down to Enigma, like it was a whole world. It was a whole world cause. Like we all had our little bits of the war that we're in. But I'm saying that I believe from my understanding of Valkyrie, because the fact is, my grandfather, he explained it to me like this. He goes, okay, if you're living in Germany and you're an innocent bystander, now if an American knocks down your door, knocks into goes into your farmland or whatnot, and you know what, they knock down your door and you're an innocent German person. Now, if everyone wants to kill Hitler, who do you think that the Allies are going to try to kill? You're going to be a casualty. That's all you're going to be.
No, absolutely.
So
it must have been a really tough time for them. 70%, I'll say, of Germany, they're all saying as Hitler as a movie star or god, but I'll say this because he depicted himself that way. He wanted, because obviously, if people know that you're a god, and if they found out that you can be killed, they don't want that information coming out because you're fucked. Anyways, but I'll say that obviously I can understand that there's a lot of people that were German that I'll say that there's still Germany when it comes down to the Nuremberg and all that war tax and whatnot. It's taxing on the countries that are involved too. You gotta remember that. I mean, that's it. And looking at the wider picture, there was a lot of factors that contributed to it, and to sort of walk away and put the whole onus on Germany and the German people it just doesn't benefit anyone, and it's not a realistic representation of. Yeah,
it's what we're taught, but you never know if we're taught the right thing.
Well, we're not. I mean,
we're not.
That's a subject for another day, and I'll happily come and talk to you about that. But yeah, I know absolutely. You have to be careful with your framing in history and where you're getting your context from.
Oh yes, make sure you do.
Absolutely.
Make sure when it comes down to that, when it comes down to history, guys, all you lovely girls and boys at home, I'm saying make sure you do research, but also you don't look at from one point of view. You actually do some research on one half, and then you do research about the other half, and then make your own decision, and then sometimes, you know what, you can find more information that might, it might trump that. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely, and as I say, always approach stuff with an open mind. There's nothing great about absolutism, and all I know is I know nothing. I mean, these are just the things I try and live by, and I apply that to life as well.
Yeah.
And it's scary if you sort of apply it too much, because you just start to realize.
Sound like people will look at you like you're a ranting idiot. It's like, oh. But no, I was talking to my friend who's American but also half Canadian. But I'll say this: she didn't know about the whole thing about the UK when it comes to a flag. She didn't know about that. I'm like, okay, the first flag that I believe England had was the St. James flag. It was white and red with a red cross in it.
Yeah.
And apparently, I think Scotland, when it came to their first flag, it had the white crosses, it had a blue background, and like their emblem or whatnot in the center. And I believe that if you take the St. James cross and then put that over top and then make it transparent, you can make almost the Union Jack perfectly with it.
I'm not sure, actually. I'd have to check. But
Yeah,
pretty
but no,
much,
but
yeah.
I'm not sure, guys. Like, ladies and gentlemen, trust me. Scientifically, I know I'm an idiot. Don't take my word for it. Trust me, guys. I'm an idiot. Even doctors say so. My girlfriend's not a doctor, but she wears a white coat, so I'm gonna take her advice. So, I'm an idiot. So, guys, if you know exactly how, please tell me in the comments. I'd love to know. But no, like, I was gonna get to the next question. I was gonna say, okay, so when you were getting into doing Twitch, or YouTube, Twitch, I'll say that, did you run into any, like, technical issues, like, mistakes that you've made with your recordings?
Technical issues.
Tell me of some that you've done, and then tell me how you fixed it. Just curiosity.
Right. I mean, over the years, there's been too many technical issues. That is just part and parcel of the industry. I'm afraid you're gonna run into your technical issues. We're still in early days, really, of the whole sort of streaming and the esports thing. So, you can run into technical everything from, there can be like the issues with like human beings not being able to turn up at the right time for matches, teams not turning up at the right time.
Yep.
That doesn't happen too much, to be honest. Thankfully, a lot of the teams we have, are generally very professional and recognise that they need to bring a certain level of professionalism, especially if it's a tournament. But just as much if it's an open season match. But as well, so a lot of it can be sort of resolving issues between teams as well, which can definitely stand up. So you have to be good at de-escalating situations and breaking stuff down and finding out what really is going on. But actual technical issues, OBS is incredibly fickle operating system. I find it can just, sometimes it wants to be your friend, sometimes it doesn't. My main issue is lag. I struggle with terrible internet connection because my building's incredibly old, and that's not great for me, unfortunately. But I would say the one that really kills me is just sort of it's just the general OBS issues for me.
I find like I remember when I streamed a little bit before, and I'll say when I had a problem, it was I'd always guys, we all have problems and we have technical issues, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta learn from people. I swear to God, my girlfriend has a really awesome, sick sense of humor sometimes. I was streaming for about 3 hours. And she was watching, and at the end of my stream, she goes, honey, your volume wasn't on. And I'm like,
oh wow, yeah.
Really?
I mean,
you were
actually,
watching? You were watching for 3 hours?
Now that you say it, I have done that, and I've had a full stream. I've had 20 odd people watching, and no one said anything. And then one of my buddies had joined and been like, "You realise your mic isn't?" And I've been there talking to everybody, making this real, heartfelt argument for a new feature in Battlefield or something like that. And no, and I will not be speaking to anyone. I will be speaking to myself because I'm on mute. So I understand your pain. That is definitely, sometimes you can just leave your microphone on mute. That's something I've done. That's something that I did a
Or
lot when I first started.
some way that some people have told me, like, even if it's on mute, another thing is you gotta make sure that your speakers on your TV are down to nothing, and then make sure that your Twitch is muted. And if you watch your own stream, and then, you know, we streamers out there, we watch our own stream just to make sure that we don't run into those technical issues. But I'll say that, you know what, make sure that your stream is muted, and also make sure that your TV is muted, because you don't want your microphone doubling up the echo from your mic, because it's picking.
Yeah.
Because your TV speakers are like an actual source. It's like giving noise, but also like your stream that you're watching on your Twitch is also giving noise. You don't want that. So if you delete that, it slowly, systematically find a way how to get rid of the audio, and then use your mic audio, and then you will learn the etiquette of when it comes down to streaming. And we all make mistakes, and sometimes your comments, like people actually live, like watching you, they can give you good handy advice. I swear to God, those people, they can help you so much. That's why people in streams, they have to listen to their viewers.
I always say, you know, take it in the manner in which it's given, and a lot of people are willing to give constructive criticism out there. And heck, if someone's willing to tell you how to do your stuff better, then, you know, take it on board. I say, because at the end of the day, these people generally have a lot of experience and can help you out. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with taking on other people's advice.
No, but I swear,
I'm always to this day, you know, I've been streaming for a few years now.
Yeah.
And it's still something that, you know, I'm always willing. And if guys come into my channel, if there's something you want to see done differently, I am more than open. Send me a message, drop a comment.
I was really glad that I was told about just like my description, like making that. I'll say that I've been doing this for a year and a half, but I'll say that someone commented on my description, and I'm gonna edit that up, and then I'm gonna go back and revise everything. But I'm like, hey, if I take the time and a little bit of effort, you know what? It makes all the worthwhile. It makes it look more professional. But also, like, I swear, like, there's trolls. We all get trolls, because there's a lot of games out there when you get younger kids, or not just younger kids. I'm saying people that would just. I got a comment where this guy's like, "I hate you," and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right. So why do you hate me? And he's like, I hate you because of you. I'm like, that tells me a lot about your character, because that means that if people are like saying like, oh yeah, your show sucks, or they'll say, yeah, you should get better, bro, and I'll be like, okay, so I'll try to get better, but I'll be like, if I do everything that people that are like telling me to do, and the fact is, and they're still putting their thumb on me, you know what? That's no different than a troll, because I swear to God, it's like, if you take everything away and do what the audience is telling you, it's kind of like, yeah, they're just pretty much saying comments just to make you feel bad or have you react. Now, it just says a lot about their character, because the one thing is, they could be mad about something at home, I don't know, but I'll say this, they probably suffer from problems that are beyond you, but, you know, you can only do so much.
I mean, it's one thing I find, I don't get trolled very often.
No.
It's thankfully like the sort of group of people that I stream to, that I appeal to, that come in generally are Battlefield fans. So thankfully it just isn't something that happens very much within the community. Yeah. It has happened once or twice, but I mean, it's kind of maybe because, I mean, my job, through my job, I take a lot of abuse. And I've taken a lot of physical and verbal abuse over the years. So I kind of think anything online just doesn't seem quite, you know, it doesn't even register with me, because, you know, dealing in my
they don't know you
day to day, face to face or over the telephone, whatever it is, then you get used to it. So it just isn't. And hate is going to hate at the end of the day. You're always going to have people.
Haters are going to hate, and you're always going to have haters. And one thing is,
just doesn't register with me. I'm too positive.
It's sad. It's sad because, you know what? I was no word of a lie. I'll say this, like, promoting, it's great when you're supporting our people and promoting them like I do, but I'll say that, yeah, like, it's not easy, because I know it's very physically demanding and also mentally, but I'm saying that, yeah, like, I had this one guy that mind you guys, I'm on Twitter, but I'll say this. This guy, he's from Canada as well, and he's from Quebec, and he's like, oh, so you're from Ontario. You're one of those guys. I'm like, okay, I guess you're trying under a label. You're trying to mark me on a label, but sure. And then he kept on talking to me, and he's like, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I agree with him. And then you know what? At the end of the conversation, that was an hour and a half. I swear to God, I was laughing because my girlfriend goes, what are you laughing at? And then I'm like, that's funny. I had him follow me. And then you know what? If you can make someone that hates your guts follow you, they're going to watch your shit. They'll watch you very closely just to figure out your flaws and also like to learn from you, because that's the main thing on YouTube and Twitch is you got to have a curb to learn, because the one thing is it's just never ending. You can't have enough knowledge. But you know what? If you can learn something new from someone else, or if you can take someone as a good example, that's worth taking, because they can take that to the bank and it will always, you'll always have interest on that.
No, absolutely. The world is your oyster if you're willing to just sort of accept its lessons and sort of don't rise to the bait. There's going to be people out there who are having bad days.
Yeah.
There's going to be people out there who get a kick out of winding people up, and for the people who are out there having a bad day, then a lot of the time, if I do come across people who are griefing, and this is something I got taught to do, by an absolutely amazing streamer called Prophet on Fire.
Oh.
And one day he some guy was in his stream giving him some abuse, and he just straight out asked the guy, "Yo, dude, are you okay? Are you okay?" sort of thing. And the guy just sort of actually came, and it turned out the guy's dad had passed away earlier that day. So you can never make an assumption about where someone's coming from, and because it's the internet and because we're reading it through the context and the framing of written words, we're not getting all those sort of non-verbal communicative cues that you'd normally get. So someone could say something and it would appear maybe you read it in one context whilst they meant it in a completely different context. So again, like, take everything you read with a pinch of salt. Just don't rise to it, because if you rise to it, obviously,
it's gonna either make it worse or just
Absolutely.
Nothing gets resolved.
But as I say, it's just not something that registers with me. Haters gonna hate, and as I say, I'm too positive, too confident in what I do. And happy with what we're coming out with. So we get a lot of flack from the rest of the gaming community about the whole Battlefield esports, because Hardcore League has really pioneered esports for Battlefield over the last sort of 4 years or so.
Yeah.
There's been every attempt to sort of create a Battlefield esport industry has fallen flat on its face, because people consider the game to be too big, it's too open, it's too casual. There's 1,000 arguments people have made as to why it doesn't work and won't work. But what we've been able to do is come along, and I'm not going to say that we're there, because I think we could always be better.
Oh yeah,
but
we've
managed to create an esports industry with over 4,000 registered players, 300 teams, and a whole massive following, with great connections to the rest of the community. And we do this whilst supporting the rest of the community, and we really like to push up people's stuff, and we'll rent out shoutcasters to communities who are running events, which is good for them, because it gets, and it's good for us, and it's good for the community as well. It stimulates this interest, its growth, and that's what we're all about, is getting a good atmosphere for people to have a really fun, enjoyable time with. We don't try and go overboard with rules. We have to put certain rules in there to make it function, to give it structure, but we don't limit people in terms of the way they play, of their weapons choice, or anything really.
Or what level they are, what rank they are. Yeah. But I'll say it's all about community. I can tell you, I can totally agree on that. But yes, the last question I'm going to say: do you have any advice for my lovely audience when it comes down to streaming, or just being online, or even when it comes down to broadcasting? Like, do you have any advice that my audience can take?
Yeah, the main bit of advice that I would give is play the long game. If you're new to it and you're trying out and you're just getting 1 or 2 views and you're streaming for like 12 hours and you're only getting 3 or 4 views and maybe 1 follow a week, just stick with it, because at the end of the day, that's something everyone's been through, and you will get there. You'll get your interest, you'll develop your methods. Try and get into a routine. Try and stream at the same time as day. Unfortunately, my job doesn't give me that option, so I'm very fluid with when I stream. But having a set routine, a set time of day will definitely help you, because people tend to go and watch Twitch at the same time of day. And as I say, just really play that long game. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, this is something that you'll build relationships with people. You'll get to know people. Go and support other streamers. Get out there. Be interactive. Don't just sit on your own stream waiting for people to come to you. Get social media accounts. Run stuff. Have something about you to offer. You know, because there's a lot of people out there offering, streaming is a very saturated market, and to really stand out there, you've got to have something very unique to offer. For me personally, it's esports shoutcasting. That's my bag, that's my treat. As a game streamer, I'm very average, but as an esports shoutcaster, that's definitely where my expertise and my professionalism lies. So yeah, just have your thing, play the long game, take on board constructive criticism, and don't beat yourself up.
Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you, HitmanPike, for being on the show, man.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me. And any time, any place, anywhere, anyone wants to interview me, I'm more than happy to get on board and talk about myself and the whole Battlefield esports thing, really. But no, thank you very much, Taz. I will look forward to hearing some more interviews from yourself.
Awesome, thanks.
The esports community.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, you know what? That's KLW HitmanPike. Yes, he's a shoutcaster from esports. Yes. So please, guys, show him some love. Hey, please leave him a like, comment, maybe subscribe. Check out his Twitch. You know what? Check the comments below. You'll find him out. Good guy. So you know what, guys? That's all time for today. So you know what, guys? Please hit that bell. No, not Taco Bell, because I'm not sponsored by them. Paris Hilton, where'd you put that goddamn dog? I'm looking for him everywhere. Anyways, no, guys, hit the notification bell so you're stay up to date to all my new videos. And you know what, guys? Leave me a like, because I like bacon. You like bacon. We all like bacon. Step off, Peter. You know what? I like bacon because, hey, it makes me me. I'm Canadian. It makes sense because I'm not me without my bacon. It's like Popeye spinach. My girlfriend knows. She's made me. I've had to make myself bacon in the morning, and when it goes missing, I'm like, and we ran out of bacon, I'm like, I'm mad, all right? I'm hangry, okay? So please, guys, leave me a like, and please, I will say this, gentlemen watching, thank you for watching out of your own accord. You lovely ladies, thank you for watching out of your lovely accord. But you know what, guys? If you lovely ladies out there are making your gentleman watch this out of his own accord, thank you. I'm gonna give him some advice, and you're gonna agree with it, so you gotta listen up, okay? Guys, please leave me a comment because, girls like guys with good skills, and trust me, I don't got skills. My girlfriend's telling me that every morning. I don't got skills, so please help me out with my skills. If I can get better at my show, please leave me a comment, and then I'll take your comments into consideration, guys. So please, because I need help with my skills. Help me, guys. So this has been brought to you by Get Out of My Line Records, because hey, kids, you're killing the grass. Get off my lawn and go down the road. Get some culture or whatnot. But yes, just stay off my lawn. But no, if you go to Get Off My Lawn Records online, you can get 10% off your next purchase if you use the code TAZ. But that'll be linked in the comments below, guys. So I'll see you guys next time, guys. See you guys! Ladies and gentlemen, tune in to esports, bro.